Hi, I'm here to do a top 10 for Batman, the 1966 Batman show, which has a lot of characters that I really like. And um, there are a lot of villains in the 1960s Batman show, including some that are a lot of fun, but also a lot that are forgettable. So that's why I don't want to do a full ranking, because I don't want to do like a ranking where I say like the same thing for like 15 villains in a row, like, this villain was kind of okay, but a little bit forgettable. I feel like that would get pretty old. So I feel like a top 10 is the way to go, although there are certainly more than just 10 entertaining characters in the show. But number 10, Commissioner Gordon. The Commissioner Gordon in 1960s Batman feels like a really fun parody of Gordon, where Gordon is often one of the most important supporting characters in Batman and a really close friend of Batman's that is very important, very good at his job. But the 1960s version feels like a hilarious parody where he pretty much is there to just tell Batman what's going on and have Batman do all the hard work. And there's a lot of great comedy that comes from that. And it's just a lot of fun to watch him. 9, Alfred. A lot of the supporting characters in 1960s Batman felt like they were there for comedy relief and to be gullible and clueless, but I felt like Alfred didn't really get that treatment. I felt like he was actually treated pretty respectfully in the show and was very helpful to Batman, Robin, and later on Batgirl, so I really liked that about the show. He even got to have a really cool fight with the Joker. 8, I think it's like Professor William uh, McElroy or something like that, a professor that thought he was King Tut. And he's a sympathetic character, actually, but also incredibly entertaining, hilarious to watch, and has a lot of screen time, more so than a lot of the other villains on the show. So he really stands out, and I really do like him. 7, Jervis Tetch. Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter was one of my favorite Batman villains growing up because of Batman the Animated Series. And I had known early on that Joker, Penguin, Catwoman, Riddler were in 60s Batman, but learning that Mad Hatter was in it was a huge, wonderful surprise. And I do love the show's take on him. I think he's very entertaining to watch. Um, and I love the imposter hatter look that he has in the show. I think he's great. I love the mustache. I love pretty much everything about him. Aside from him not being in that many episodes. 6, Batgirl. Batgirl really helps the third season of the show. I think she's likable. She's an interesting character. I feel like she was bringing something new to the show, and it was a lot of fun to watch her. And I feel like she was a good, capable, strong hero. And I feel like she didn't feel like a sidekick. She felt like a hero in her own right, and I really do like that about the show. 5, Egghead. Egghead is one of my favorite Batman villains because he was played by one of my favorite actors of all time, Vincent Price, who was able to take a Batman villain whose gimmick was eggs and actually make it work. Egghead is hilarious, and with Vincent Price playing him, he's oddly likable, he's charming, he's cool, he's so many things. Not that intimidating, but I sure do love him. 4, the Penguin. Uh, the 1960s version of the Penguin feels pretty definitive, a great mastermind that is able to be a great menace for Batman, a very sophisticated villain that is so fun to watch. In every episode that he appears in, he's a delight throughout the show, and I love him. 3, the Joker. Similarly to the Penguin, the 1960s Joker feels very definitive, a great classic feeling Joker that is so fun to watch. An absolute delight of an antagonist for Batman and one of the most consistently funny and enjoyable characters that has brought so many smiles to my face. To the Riddler. The 1960s version of the Riddler, in my opinion, remains the best version of the Riddler there's ever been. More so than any other adaptation of the Riddler. A brilliant mastermind who is so incredibly entertaining. A villain that is arguably even more entertaining than the Joker in the show, which is incredibly impressive and very hard to do. And I love what Riddler brought to the 1960s Batman show. And in one Batman, um, Adam West, I think, brought so much heart to Batman. And yes, the Adam West Batman is campy, danced around, all that stuff. But Adam West gave a performance that felt so genuine, so sincere that when I watched him, I often forgot about how campy his Batman technically is. It feels so sentimental, so wholesome, so heartfelt that he really feels like just such a likable guy that just wants to make things better. And it really does feel like he cares so much about others. Like he loves the various people in Gotham City. He really cares about giving morals and good lessons to Robin. It really feels like he wants to make things so much better for so many people, that he loves others, and he's just so heartfelt. And I feel like he in some ways elevated the character of Batman. And I feel like Adam West just made Batman feel so enjoyable to watch. And it's hard to think of a version of Batman that has more heart and wholesomeness to him, and I adore him. And Adam West, in a lot of ways, is Batman to me, and one of the most heartfelt adaptations of a superhero that I've seen. So, he's my number one.